Hey guys, and welcome to another Spore creation video, and the first of which including commentary. For this video I'll be making Godzilla from Godzilla Earth, and in terms of modifications, add-ons and DLC, you'll be able to find them all in the video description and down below. When it came to making Godzilla Earth, this is a request I've been receiving for quite a long time now, and I was a little bit hesitant because as much as I personally enjoy making Godzilla, I think he's a really awesome character and I just have a lot of fun making him. I've been making a lot of them, and so I was kind of concerned that I was getting a bit redundant, a bit repetitive. But the requests kept coming in, and I decided, you know what, screw it. It's obviously being requested, it's obviously desired for, I'll go ahead and attempt to make Godzilla Earth, or the Earth variant. And as always, as is with most Godzilla creations, I did have a lot of fun doing this. However, one of the biggest issues I had with the creation, and as I described quite a lot in the live stream I did making this, is that Godzilla Earth, being so much larger than all the other Godzilla variants, a much larger creature does of course have a much thicker weight and generally larger proportions, which was quite interesting to work with because it really made me try and consider or reconsider a lot of my usual habits and usual default responses to making a creation. I typically go for a fairly lean build, nothing overly slim, but I tried to have things in my eyes, you know, fairly anatomically correct, so to make something that was a little bit larger, especially as in Spore that normally translates to rounder, was quite an interesting challenge. When it came to making the feet for Godzilla, I felt like I finally found a new technique that I'm really quite happy with by using the textureless biotic tendril foot part and having various witch brows on top of it stacked over to have the effect of scales on the toes, and of course the good old ethel razors as the claws. This is a technique I've been using quite a bit lately and I really am quite satisfied with, so you'll probably be seeing it in more and more various reptile, dinosaur, lizard, dragon kind of creations in the future. Next up we have the hands, or the arms more like, and just like I was saying earlier, the general anatomy of Godzilla Earth was really making me have to rethink a lot of things, such as how far forward the shoulders are as opposed to far in the back, which I'm normally quite used to. Now, to try and, in my own eyes, but also in the creation itself, try to make do and have a lot of these strange proportions work, in Spore of course, I started to try use a smoother part and just create significantly more musculature than I normally would, to try and smooth out a lot of the edges, try and add in all that extra bulk, just to try and tie everything together and make it all work, as, like I said earlier, when it comes to making larger creatures in Spore, Spore normally does exaggerate a lot of features and makes them look a lot more rounder, more balloon-like than the player would normally like, and so I've had to try use various limbs, various smoother parts and so on to try and have the effect and the illusion. It's not exactly just round and balloon-like, but more it has variations, it has musculature, it has folds and skin and such. And it's something I'll try doing a lot more later on with the Electron Bruiser and the Ethel Razor parts as well. And mainly textures of course, so they absorb the texture of the base creature itself. Fortunately, the tail being as large and long as it is, it really did help offset all of the weight and made it feel balanced, which I was very happy with in the end. When it came to the head itself, so as much as I enjoyed trying to have the creatures animate, there are some times where I just simply decide it's not going to happen, I'll go ahead and make a custom mouth. And for Godzilla Earth, I decided to go for a limb to start off with, using a Electron Bruiser, a nail down, and Ethel Razors to try and create all the different folds, the baggy neck, emphasis on the jawline, and using a black nail down from Kanban's colour pack to create the illusion of an open mouth, or at least shadows and such, in between a bunch of teeth. As always when it comes to the Spore creations, the general form, while absolutely crucial, I normally tackle it fairly quickly, and after that it just comes down to all of the more minute and important details, all the particular curves of the face, the detail of the teeth and all that kind of stuff, and these are the kind of things that just simply take time. So for the duration of this video up until near the ending, I'll let you guys enjoy some good old music and we'll see how this pans out. As we reach further to the end of the creation, we of course have the most important and iconic feature of Godzilla left to create, and that is his legendary spikes. Over the years, I've always had such issues trying to recreate the spikes of Godzilla. It doesn't even matter which variant of Godzilla it is, the spikes just always have eluded me. And for this one, I've tried to go with a bit of a hybrid between two different techniques. Lately I've been using the thermic imposers, the spiky orange parts there, to try and have a close enough illusion of the spikes. But for this particular creation, I tried to experiment a little bit more, and you see photon vaporizers, the bluer parts you can see there. And what I tend to do was to have two of those per spike, or per crest if you will, to have one of them to be tall and thin, the other one shorter and broader, stacked on top of each other, to give the illusion of Godzilla plastic spikes. But the issue is that it's a very complicated or more complex method. While it may look good and may look a lot more suitable, even with modded Spore, even with the Freedom hack, there's still only so much you're able to put onto the creation before you have some kind of faux complexity meter. And therefore, that's why I try to go with the more budget-friendly parts, because in the end, even with modded, there's still limits involved. But overall though, I feel like the hybrid between the two parts, the photon vaporizers, the thermic composers, and further on towards the end, the violet met parts, the purple necro parts, I feel like overall it's created quite a nice illusion of the spikes. Certainly not perfect, but it is close enough in which it resembles the spikes of Godzilla. It is clearly a Godzilla creation or a Godzilla recreation. It has enough features there that it looks good enough to me. After all, even with mods, even with complexity and all the various kind of things that we use nowadays, there are still tremendous limitations in Spore, and I'm very satisfied with the overall outcome. And after a bit of fine tuning, a bit of playing around the textures and final bits of parts, in particular the expression of the face, in the end we had the creation completed. We have the awesome Godzilla Earth, and overall I have to say I am very, very happy with how this came out. I was a little bit intimidated because, as I'd said, I've already made Godzilla multiple times before, so I felt like I may have been wandering into the more redundant path of creating. But he does actually have enough features where it does feel quite nice and unique, and of course it introduced a variety of new challenges which I'm not entirely that used to. Had to think of some creative alternatives to fixing, such as the larger weight and therefore all the extra musculature, certain textures which aren't really obtainable via textures alone but instead through additional parts such as the ethel razors and the electron bruises around the neck, and of course the face, to try and get enough of the Godzilla Earth's very evil looking grin without it looking too soulless. overall, I am extremely happy with how this came out. Thank you all very much for persistently recommending Godzilla Earth. I'm happy I've done it in the end, and as always guys, I hope that you enjoy it as well. As a friendly little reminder, all of my mods are indeed in the video description down below. I am playing on Spore Galactic Adventures with the Creepy and Cute Parts Pack. And as always, I've got plenty more creation videos, which I encourage everyone to go check out if you enjoyed this one too. You can find them all in the end of the video. If you'd like to see more Godzilla related creations or more kaijus, there is a kaiju playlist as well available to you. And as always guys, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoy this kind of content, please do subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you are aware of the next upload. And as always, a massive thank you to all my supporters, and a thank you to all of you as well for making all this possible. If you do like the commentary videos, please let me know and I'll try my best to keep up with them. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Take care of yourselves, and cheers.